So that's pretty much, what's going on, Steve.
Yay.
Hmm.
Hey, you'll be happy to know
Yes.
that I got to put my headphones on because I don't want to, when we start the show, I don't want to fucking feedback and shit.
Act like a jack or be a jackass. I mean, you can't help but do
I
that,
can't
Steve.
help that.
That's right.
I did, in fact, promote this show on my other show.
You did.
I did. Proud of me?
How did that go?
It went over fine.
I'm gonna tell you, I didn't see any uptick.
Well, of course not. Those people don't like this kind of
I
shit.
mean, it didn't help out at all.
How do you know?
Um, because I can see based on analytics, Steve.
Oh, I'll try again some other time.
Well, you know.
But I did it. You said I wouldn't do it, so I did.
And I'm grateful, I guess.
You ought to be. You've been bugging me about it for like a month now or more.
Well, I'm sorry that I have some expectations of you, Steve.
You shouldn't. You really shouldn't.
It's not a lot.
It doesn't matter.
I don't have insane expectations on you, Steve. It's very limited.
You expect me to show up for the show on Sunday, and that should be about it.
Well,
because I'll fail.
I'd like a little more.
I realize that, but I'll fail all your expectations.
I really hope not.
Well, I can't help it. It's my nature.
Steve, are you ready to do this week?
No.
Or are you going to play with shit on your desk?
I'm just fixing things.
No, Steve. See, this is what I mean. I need a little bit more dedication out of you.
And see, I failed your expectations already.
So can we stop playing with shit on the desk during the show?
I'll do my best. I can't promise anything.
No, let's not do your best. Let's not fucking do it.
Maybe I turn my phone off before we start the show too.
That would be a good idea.
I did it.
Mine is put away.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
All right.
You ready?
Start. Yep. Start.
You sure?
Yep.
Yeah. This is the Fortean Slip, episode 21. Flightless bats and predator rats. Oh my! I didn't put the "oh my" in the title though.
You need to.
I think I will. I think I'll adjust that after we're done broadcasting. But yeah, so finally, we do the show about speculative biology, Steve.
Finally.
Which you did absolutely zero research for.
I found it more important to get some rest today and didn't realize that you had sent me links that I was supposed to be reading.
Well, I just figured I'd give you a little something to look over, check into.
Mm-hmm. I thought you were sending me news stories, but I thought it was odd that you were sending them to me and not Richard. But I mean, you woke me up from my nap at least twice.
Oh, I'm so sorry to have disturbed sleepy time.
It's important to get rest.
And Richard actually did some research for the show.
Did he?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, how about I be the producer tonight and Richard be the co-host?
Fine with me. Mute yourself. Let's get on with this.
Wow, it's like he's been waiting for this to happen.
He can join in on the discussion because he knows more about this shit than you do, Steve.
Well,
I'm really excited to talk about this because this is something I really enjoy.
I bet you I could figure it out while we're talking. Go. Well, we'll find out. Go.
Why Richard really, really likes it?
Well, I can't imagine why Richard really, really likes it, but we'll find out.
This is like that one thing that Mikey likes. We found it. Because everything else Richard thinks is shit.
Well, speculative biology has basis in science, though. And a lot of the other things we talk about do not.
But he keeps muting himself. Like, he can actually talk.
He won't.
I usually have myself muted for these things.
You're excited, Richard. I want to hear about your excitement.
You want to know why I'm fascinated by this, Steve? Imagine ferrets as big as tigers. Can you imagine that?
Speculative biology.
That right in a nutshell. Ferrets as big as tigers.
Well, didn't
rabbits
at one time
as megafauna.
Rabbits like
megafauna
deer
at one time.
I mean, this is super interesting stuff, like normal basic animals and what they have the potential to evolve into.
Flightless bats, Steve, that just
I have to
run
disagree.
around on the ground and fucking use sonar to kill you.
I have to disagree with what was Richard's perception of this. Megafauna has been extinct for many years because it was unsustainable. They won't evolve into that.
They could if man was wiped out and the ecology recovered sufficiently enough.
Yeah, but it was wiped. The megafauna went away prior to the rise of man, if I'm not mistaken.
After a massive ecological disaster, yeah. But we had an ice age and shit, and a meteor. The planet could recover, and megafauna could return, and rabbits and ferrets could be the cusp of that. I mean, I'm oversimplifying a very complicated subject here, but imagine it. Ferrets that with like huge ass fucking teeth and laser beams attached to their heads.
I do see one more issue.
I don't know about the laser beams. Whoa. How do we go to laser beams?
Well, I'm just exaggerating for comedic effect, but still, impressive.
This isn't fucking Flash Gordon.
Well, I see one more problem with your excitement here, Richard.
Yeah.
You won't be around to see it.
Well, no. I also want to go around to see 2100.
No, but see, we can speculate, Steve, and that's the whole idea. Speculative biology.
Okay, so we've got a question from the chat room.
Already?
Is there speculation about the future evolution of human beings?
Oh,
well, that would be part of it, I would assume.
The same gentleman whose book I sent you, Richard.
Yeah.
He wrote another book called Man After Man, where he postulated, how man would evolve after now, like the people that go into space would evolve a certain way, and he talked about these parasitic people that would wind up living on other people.
What?
Oh yeah, it gets fucking really freaky, dude.
I read, what was the story where the people had gone underground and then they basically turned into whole different creatures and they were white and their eyes were red and shit.
Are you talking about The Time Machine?
Yeah, that one.
That's H.G. Wells.
Oh.
Steve.
Well, that's kind of the same concept.
It's a fiction.
But it's the same concept. Things like that would happen depending on.
Are you saying that H.G. Wells was a speculative biologist?
I'm saying that he had the idea, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad you could join in on the conversation and bring something to the table, Steve.
I did. I brought something to the table. I'm proud of myself.
As you should be. Pat yourself on the back. Give yourself a gold star, Steve.
I don't have any stickers.
I know you do.
I bet you my wife does somewhere.
You fucking know. I know. Somewhere in that house, there's a fucking little board that says Stevie's done well.
Yeah, if there were, there's nothing on it.
But yeah, there's a whole other book that this guy wrote all about how man would evolve and all the different types of man that would come out of, what we are currently.
Do we agree with that assessment?
Which assessment? Assessment.
Humans will evolve into man after man.
Do I agree with his assessment? No, I find his assessment interesting. Like you talked about before the show, you brought up that everything that he's talking about is all mostly mammals.
Yes.
Although there are some other creatures in there if you look around. That he goes into. But it is very mammal dominated. And I don't think that was by accident. I think that's what he saw it as. He saw mammals as the dominant force on the planet now, and that they would remain that way, but things would shift. So I didn't see it as I don't know what you referred to it as, narrow-minded or very narrow.
I
Sure.
thought it was a little, narrow-minded is the right word. I don't think that if there is any disaster that's going to wipe out man, it's probably going to take most mammals with it. I would imagine that, fish, amphibians, avians, or, even insects could rise to be the dominant species after we go. And the documentation that you sent me was pretty much all mammals. There were variations.
Well, it all depends on how we go, too. Like a plague could wipe us out that didn't wipe out any animals. It could just wipe out people.
That's very true.
And if that happens and people are gone, then boom. There you go. There's your petri dish. And then
that's very speculative, though.
And what is this show, Steve? Steve, thank you for bringing it around. Thank you for joining the program. I'm glad you're on the ball tonight, Steve.
I have to agree with Richard. Most things that would wipe out man would probably likely wipe out everything else too. But I guess there are a few things that, I mean, even if we wiped ourselves out, we'd wipe out a good portion of the animals.
Like what, Steve? Like what?
Well, like Richard said, or like you said, the only thing that you could imagine that would wipe just one species out is a type of disease. Everything else would, like a natural disaster, would wipe out whatever's in its wake, except for fish and maybe some insects and things like that. Birds might be able to fly.
Well, I think if, the right type of, let's say, not disaster, but maybe war or whatever, wiped out people in the larger concentrated areas, and the other people just fell apart because society goes to shit.
Oh, yeah.
Because, the minute the milk and the fucking eggs aren't on the shelf anymore and the power's out, Steve, shit's going to go down really quick.
Speaking of eggs, there was just a giant recall on eggs. So you might want to check your eggs. Look it up. I don't have the link on me right now, but
I'll check my eggs, Steve.
You might want to check your eggs.
I'll check them.
I'm going to eat the ones I have anyway. I'm not going to worry about it.
Don't you worry.
I mean, I suppose the counter to that argument is like nature has found mammals to be a very successful species and will focus on bringing those up if anything happens to man. I mean, mammals as a species came up during the end of the dinosaurs' reign, and we've stuck around during an ice age and all sorts. So, we are a very successful branch of the animal kingdom. So it's not completely insane to think that, mammals will continue to be dominant after humanity disappears.
Yeah, I tend to think that when it comes to predators, I go back to that fucking coy wolf, because I think that's going to be a very dominant predator.
Very taken with the coy wolf.
It's even just forget us being gone. I think it's going to become a dominant predator in North America.
Yeah, it's not a recent species though. It has been around for a couple of 100 years.
Yeah, it has been. Kind of.
Well, in the grand scheme of things, a couple of 100 years is pretty recent.
Yeah, but that's
just the tip of the hat.
That's kind of speculative in and of itself, saying a couple of 100 years.
Yeah, no, fair point. That is a blip on the Earth's radar.
So I mean, but that's a creature that has evolved based on these creatures that are very similar, all being able to mate, only these certain ones being able to mate, because it takes a certain wolf from the eastern part of the United States to mate with a coyote, and they're also intermingling with dogs, creating this new hybrid that they're calling the coy wolf, which isn't as afraid of people. It's fucking pretty fascinating.
It's almost like a de-evolution of sorts if you think about it, because
it's not No, it's not, because it's allowing them to live in urban areas as well
True.
uh, as the wild or forested areas. They can be anywhere.
Well, my point was going back because they all evolved from the same, line: dogs, wolves, and
Right.
coyotes.
They all come from wolves.
So it's almost like they're going back to their natural, what they were.
Well, they're kind of blending. They're
Right.
taking all of these traits that they've specialized in, and they're kind of blending them back together.
I want a pet coy wolf.
Oh, do you?
A pet coy wolf dog.
Do they take on the birthing habits of the coyote or the wolf, though? Because coyotes are very prolific breeders. They can have anything between 10 and 20 pups in a single litter.
Yeah, and coyotes are fucking weird. If you start killing them off, they like the females will increase the size of their litters.
Yeah,
You would think that they would go more towards something like that because survival of the fittest. I mean, kind of makes sense that they want the species would inherently take on those traits.
But I mean, it is totally possible that these scenarios of us being gone without all of these other creatures being gone, it can occur.
Sure.
So to say that, it's highly unlikely, or if whatever wiped us out would wipe them out, not necessarily. So
You should ask those preppers we had on a couple of weeks ago. Maybe they know.
I doubt it. I doubt they'd have any idea about the speculative biology field.
No,
Steve.
about what would wipe us out as opposed to wiping out animals.
I just told you.
Because they're all about that shit.
I just told you.
Or something like that. Okay. Got someone in the chat room who's very much into this subject, putting forward a lot of useful information. The latest question is, why do we have to be gone for this stuff to happen?
We don't.
No, we don't. Like the koi wolf is evolving right under our noses.
Yep.
That's happening while we're here. So there are other creatures that are doing the exact same thing. There's a type of lizard, I think it's an anole, down in Florida that's evolving. They've found bigger pads on their feet so that they can get up higher in the trees to avoid predators. And it's been a measurable evolution that they've noticed over time.
Galapagos finch evolved in 2 generations.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing what can happen. That's happening right under our noses that we don't even notice.
Well, we don't even know all the animals on the planet yet.
Exactly, we're finding new shit all the time. Like I said, the ocean is the largest place that we could look. I think as far as for finding new exotic creatures that we've never seen before. We've barely skimmed the fucking surface of the ocean. And we're finding new things all the time.
Very true.
But this whole idea, like I said, this field of speculative biology, we tend to apply it to the things that we see readily. And I think that's why Dougal Dixon saw things the way that he did. He saw, the things that we deal with on land. Because you didn't see much about the aquatic versions of anything. Like he talked about like aquatic monkeys, like monkeys that would develop, going into the water, being almost amphibious, but he didn't really talk about any type of oceanic life or river lake life. It was just mostly land-based stuff because that's what we associate with.
Right.
So, but it's just fascinating shit. Like I said, the flightless bats was the one that got me. Just the idea of these things fucking running around. And I'll try to remember to post the link. I sent Richard and Steve. I'm pretty sure it's a Japanese film. I don't know if it's a movie or it says it's like a TV show. I don't know, but it's like an hour and something long, and it's all about this. But it's all in like I said, like Japanese. So I don't fucking understand it. But it's got stop motion and puppetry of all these creatures that he talks about, and it's pretty fucking interesting just to watch through it. You can skip through it and see all the different shit. And Dougal Dixon is in it, but you can't hear a fucking word he says because they're talking over him in Japanese to translate. So you can't hear a fucking thing he's saying.
There's got to be an English version of it somewhere.
Well, I think the only thing that they could do is do a subtitle version.
Right.
If somebody could subtitle it. But I don't know how to fucking translate it.
I have an aunt who's Japanese. Maybe I'll have her do it for me.
You have an aunt who's Japanese.
Yes. An aunt. I don't know how you say it up there in Maine.
I know. I think you said it just fine. I didn't realize you had a Japanese aunt.
Yeah, she's a novelist in Japan, but she lives here now. But yeah, I do. Yeah, very famous Japanese novelist.
There you go.
Yeah.
So why don't you just have her do it?
That's what I just said.
Hook us up, Steve.
She won't want to watch that shit, though. Not her style.
Why not?
Oh, she's into art and
it's probably
feng
isn't
shui
even
and
Japanese.
shit.
It's probably like Korean. She'll be all offended.
Yeah, just because it's some Asian language, you have to be all racist and stuff and call it Japanese.
I don't know what the fuck it is, dude. I apologize to any Asians that may have been offended because I don't fucking know.
So in the same sentence, you proposed a solution and then shot it down, Steve.
Yeah,
That's
I did.
That's pretty much your entire contribution right there.
Steve's great. He destroyed everything. We could have understood the entire show that you can't right now if Steve would just try to do something for the show. But no.
Not Steve.
We
but
could
yeah,
all
really interesting trying to figure out, where he got the idea for what these species will evolve into and why. And he's got it all written down.
Oh, yeah.
And it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Well, he talks about how the Earth will change too. Like how the different continents will slam together and some will pull apart. And like he really thought about it. Like he took some fucking time.
When was this written?
Oh, God. I didn't look. Long time ago.
Okay. But he's using science-based reasoning to come up with these answers, I'm assuming.
Yeah, he goes through the whole idea of evolution in like the first sections of the book.
1981.
I'm trying to find the
Okay, 1981. So there was some pretty solid science behind the reasoning at that point.
Was that sarcasm?
No. Not at all.
But the book is called After Man, a Zoology of the Future by Dougal Dixon. Introduction by Desmond Morris.
Oh, well, if Desmond Morris is behind it, then that's some good shit.
And then he goes into evolution, how cell genetics work, natural selection, and animal behavior.
I think there's probably a lot less speculation and more scientific reasoning behind what will happen. I mean, it's obvious what things need to evolve into to be, if the Earth changes way.
Because he's definitely speculating because there's no fucking surety about the whole thing.
If you just take reasoning and okay, let's say that tomorrow a super volcano wipes out the entire Earth, and what are the species going to have to do to cope with that? And then you go from there and build on that, something like that. But, I mean, there's definite scientific reasoning behind. I mean, you can come up with what these things could turn into based on what might happen, but it's still speculation. You're right.
Why do kangaroos become hairless and live in the desert?
I don't know.
I'm looking at some of the book right now.
I want to know why humans, became hairless. I mean, obviously, apes, every other primate species is not hairless.
Why don't you look into that, Steve? Steve Alcorn, investigator.
Well, why are we
they'd
the only
have
ones
to be pushed
hairless?
into the desert by some sort of ecological need. Like it's the only place they could get food and water without competition.
I'm more fascinated by the fact that he thinks that apes will become like pack animals.
Well, we are already, aren't we?
No,
Well,
more like hunting in packs, like almost devolving in a way. You could
They-
A lot of them do. I mean,
well, yes, they
Yeah.
do, but to a different degree. Like this is more like like the cats hunt or dogs in packs hunt. The way they have their setup, they evolved to being on all fours. It's interesting, like what this guy thought thought would happen, but I wouldn't think that apes would evolve that way.
chimpanzees do hunt that way. They set it up on the ground and they catch monkeys.
Right. But not,
Chris is talking about taking it to the next level.
they wouldn't be in the trees anymore.
Oh, they've run
They're
down.
on all fours.
Kind of like what we did, I'm assuming. Like what humans did.
Just
We
the
came
other
down
way.
out of the trees and we
And
have to
walked on all
form.
fours.
Oh no, we didn't walk on all fours, but we had to have family units and basically packs, if you think about it.
Well,
We
no,
stick with people with like minds.
that was more tribal.
Well, tribal, but it's still we hunt in packs, if you think about it.
In a way, yes.
Well, you have but you're thinking more. Every ape of that species would work together. Is that what you're thinking, or what he was thinking?
Well, they have like a hierarchy, like your alpha fucking chimp or whatever.
Right.
Well, it'd still be chimp, yeah. Or ape. And they hunt, but they hunt like a wolf pack or a pack of or a pride of lions, or they're not hunting like your chimpanzees would when your chimpanzees hunt monkeys.
Okay.
I would consider it different.
I like the Planet of the Apes scenario better.
Do you?
Well, I think that's probably more likely.
That apes are going to become intelligent. We're going to become unintelligent.
Yes. Well, not that we're going to become I mean, he wasn't unintelligent. He was just looked at like, that from the apes. But I think that it's more likely that apes would eventually evolve to be more human-like.
You
It kind of
blew
makes
it up.
sense. Kind of makes sense for them to go that route if obviously circumstances remain the way they are now. For apes to come out of the trees and walk on 2 legs instead of 4 and that kind of thing, because it's just more efficient.
It's more efficient to walk on 2 legs.
Well, yeah, look how successful humans are.
Well, for what we do.
And the opposable thumb, I think, would be for apes anyway, would be a very, very big plus.
Mm-hmm.
But
So-
maybe they would retain some of the tree climbing abilities. That it would have been
So you're
cool.
you're arguing against the whole
I'm not
Dougal
arguing
Dixon.
against it. I just think that
version of it.
I
Which
just
is
think
what I
that
was saying, that I thought it was odd that he took that route.
right. I think that it would be the other route, to be honest with you. But that I'm not a scientist or a biologist or a zoologist or any kind of
You're
logist.
barely a human being.
Yeah. I'm devolving the other way.
I mean, I think you might be one of those parasitic people. That
I'm
could
gonna.
be
I
possible.
attach myself to somebody and then don't let go. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that's how it happens.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe my thinking is totally opposite of what really would happen. But I think that if we look at evolution, you tend to adapt in a more advanced way instead of. I mean, pack hunting is kind of devolving, in my opinion. The way. I mean, I think they become more intelligent. I mean, some apes are pretty damned intelligent already, you know, and they're discovering more and more that apes are way more intelligent than we even thought. A lot of them,
Right, and they're starting to use tools. I would
right.
think that would continue. You know, that the use of tools, the expansion of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they even think in some cases that these groups of chimpanzees are starting to worship in a weird way. I saw an article about it a while back. I think we might have even actually done a story about it at one point or another.
I believe we did. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I found what that flightless bat is called. It's called the Night Stalker.
Ooh, fancy science name there.
Yeah, it looks kind of funky. If you look it up, it's in the islands and island continents section of the book that I sent you.
What would be the advantage of a bat being flightless, though? Isn't it a big advantage for them now?
The whole idea of this is that birds have evolved to be flightless. There are certain birds that do not fly.
Right.
But bats, there's no flightless versions of bats.
Right.
So he postulated this idea of these bats that started, walking around on the ground, and some of them still eat insects and they started to look like flowers. And then others just, hunted and with sonar and just became huge and started killing all kinds of shit.
Well, you would have to imagine if they started walking on the ground, they'd have to get bigger.
Yeah, because their prey would become bigger.
I mean, there's still insects and whatnot on the ground that they could eat, but it would be much more of an advantage
if they could eat other things as well.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who wants to live on insects? Ugh.
But some, it has it as some of them still do. Like I said, the ones that look like flowers.
But in turn, let's say bats started walking on the ground and started eating all the ground-based insects, wouldn't in turn then they would evolve into something as well, because now they've got a new predator, and then they would have to adapt and evolve, maybe become bigger or
right. I mean,
have claws or whatever.
Everything's going to change everything else.
Right. And that's basically the whole basis behind evolution, is because environmental changes cause you to change what you are or what you do.
Right. That's one of the reasons why those lizards down in Florida are getting the bigger pads on their feet to be able to climb higher in the trees, is because of predators that have been introduced into Florida's, ecological system. The people fucking pick up these friggin' animals, can't take care of them, and then they wind up, shoving them out into the fucking wild. They have all kinds of friggin' snakes loose, and
even some, primates that, like chimps and stuff that people had as pets. And I don't know.
Are you saying the skunk ape?
Basically, I think a lot of the skunk ape sightings are escaped primates of some sort. Yeah, because I mean, they used to just let them go. I don't know what goes on nowadays, but there's got to be a breeding population down there somewhere, and I think it's even known that there is in some of those areas in Florida.
There's breeding populations of apes?
Well, I don't know that they know that there's a breeding population, but they know that there has been like chimpanzees that were left out in the wild, and there was a lot more than one. I mean, people used to buy these spider monkeys, the grinder monkeys. They used to buy them things as pets.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So when you release that into the wild in a place like Florida, can sustain an animal like that, then you have a whole new species that is
Well, not
introduced.
necessarily a whole new.
Well, it depends on how many times this sort of thing happened.
Well, it's an old species, but it's
Yeah.
being
Yeah,
introduced
like
to another area.
People dump their alligators in the sewer, and
And then they get huge and they fucking come out and kill people, Steve.
yes.
Oh,
Well, if it happens a few times and you got one male and one female, that's all it takes to start.
Urban myth.
It's not an urban myth.
Thought it was an
There's
urban myth.
a lot of it is urban myth. I mean, a lot of that kind of stuff is, but people did do it.
I think you're an urban myth.
I am something.
So over time, species would change though in a new environment. Like those grinder monkeys in Florida, a few generations, and their genetics would change.
Oh yeah, once they start breeding in a new area, of course they're going to change to some degree.
But how many? I'm not just saying those grinder monkeys, but whatever species was left loose because people had them as pets and then never, couldn't take care of them. How many of each one was let loose in the wild and, depending on the area, if they've met up and one was a female and one was a male, how long does it take to start a breeding population?
It'd take about 2 or 3 pairs with a deep genetic pool bond.
Right, but so it wouldn't take that much, really. Well, species in general, most species are very adaptable to environments. I mean, look at humans. We live in fucking Iceland and cold areas and Alaska and North Pole and places places that are cold.
Yeah, places that are cold. How about places that are hot? How about places that are hot, Steve?
Yeah, we live in deserts. I mean, look how much range humans have. Well, other animals will have that same kind of range if presented with that, challenge.
I just want you to know we sound like the biggest bunch of uninformed douchebags.
I think we're very intelligent. This is the most intelligent conversation I've had all day.
All day?
All year.
It's probably like one of 2 conversations we've had all day. What is that noise?
It's Richard. Probably.
Why does he do this to me?
I'm sure it's ferret related.
It has to be.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be. But I did a show on this back when I was doing the Daily Dose ages ago on this speculative biology, and Jay Cooney was the one that pointed me at the Dougal Dixon stuff, and I think it was one of his buddies in one of their plesiosaur group thingies that sent me the books. And that was years ago now.
Well, years ago. We've only been doing this 5 years. I mean, you make it sound like 20 years ago.
No, it was years ago now.
The kid barely graduated high school.
It was like three or so years ago.
Is he out of high school now?
Oh yeah, he's in college at this point. So, but
one of the smartest young men I ever met.
That he pointed me in the direction of it, and I took a look at it, and I always thought it was something that we should expand and do, a bigger show on and talk about it.
Yeah. Well, it's a fascinating subject because everything's going to evolve into something else eventually. So,
right, but what will things become?
Right.
And how can we know?
I don't think you can particularly know exactly. I think you can come up with ideas based on possible environmental and changes.
Steve, see, I think once the robot overlords take over, they'll be able to create algorithms that will figure all this shit out.
No, they won't, because they'd still have to know. Well, maybe they will. I don't know.
No, Steve, it's going to happen. Robot overlords equals fucking everything's going to be kosher.
And then humans, if there's robot overlords, will have to evolve into something else. Maybe we'll be ant people.
We're going to become ant people?
We'll be slaves. And then the robots will invent social media and get all narcissistic and then alien overlords will take over.
Should I tell Richard that social media already exists?
For robots, dummy.
Oh, robot social media.
Don't burst his bubble.
I'm sorry, robot social media. I didn't.
Yes. When the robots take over, everything will be fine for a while, and then they'll invent social media, and then they'll get all narcissistic and self-obsessed, and then the aliens will take over.
Well, the robots will turn into what
And then
we
you'll
are
have
now, basically, is
robots
what you're
with
saying.
Instagram accounts where they take pictures of their fat asses.
Yep, and robot cleavage.
And other robots will follow them and drool.
Yes, exactly. That's what's going to happen. And then when the aliens get all self-obsessed and narcissistic, the humans will have pulled their asses out and will take the planet back over. And the cycle will begin again. That's what happened to Atlantis. It was a robot city.
And then thousands of years from now, we'll go, why are there pyramids?
Exactly. See, it's all connected, one big circle. It's a circle of social media.
It's cyclic.
How many times has
all this has happened before, and all of this will happen again?
It's possible. How many times has human civilization risen and fallen?
We've talked about this before, Steve.
Yeah,
3 times.
3.
3? That's it? That's all you give it?
Yep.
In the billions and billions of years, only 3
You got it all figured out?
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to wipe human civilization off the face of the planet.
If this has anything to do with the Douglas Adams book or fucking Terry Pratchett,
no.
I'm going to reach to the computer and strangle you.
No, it doesn't.
Why 3?
Why 3? Because the Atlantis thing and the Mayans.
What if the Atlantis thing and the Mayans thing is connected?
It's
not. Only 2. How do you know?
What if neither of those happened?
They did.
You sure? You're positive?
I'm very positive.
Well, I can agree with you maybe on the Mayan one, but I'm not sure about the Atlantis one. Because that's never been
I want to know where his proof is.
We know Mayans existed.
Yeah,
we know Atlanteans existed as well.
We do?
Yeah, the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh, dear God. Tell me more. Caller, you're on the air.
That's where Atlantis was. And, that's why all the planes and ships go missing, because they get too close to Atlantis. And the old robot defenses take care of it.
In the next hour, we'll be talking to a crazy British man who thinks that the Bermuda Triangle is real.
It is real. They've done studies.
Well, it is real. I mean, there is a Bermuda Triangle.
It's a real area.
Well, there you are then. I win.
Oh.
What does that have to do with... Oh, yeah, because robots. I get it. Okay, now.
See? It's all connected.
We're going to evolve into robots, I think.
Of course,
that's our biology.
Definitely. If they keep selling them sex dolls, yeah.
I was watching...
You're already a robot.
I was watching a Netflix show today called Beyond. Have you seen it? Have you seen it yet?
No.
Okay, well, this kid was in a coma for 12 years. And then there's another guy who's in a coma. I don't want to give too much away.
Right.
The other guy who's in a coma is an old man. And he communicates through his brain text messages to his daughter or his granddaughter. So he's got something in his, must have been an implant or something. But I could see that humans evolving
he's
into
typing out, listen, bitch, I'm not dead.
Well, no.
For God's sake, switch the machines off.
He's a very wise man in a coma. But what I'm saying is eventually I think we'll have things like that where we won't even, we'll be more robot-like than we are human-like. And that'll be our downfall, I'm thinking. It'll be like a robot-human hybrid.
The Borg, that's our future.
It was something like that. I bet you.
Resistance is futile, Steve.
So I don't think we'll be taken over by robot overlords, as Chris says. I think we will be the robot overlords.
I think resistance is futile, much like the VW debauchery trip for you.
I thought we were done with that discussion.
It does tie. His theory does tie into my social media theory, though.
This is my friggin' birthday wish, Steve, and it is not going to end. It continues.
Well, my birthday wish was quite the opposite.
I'm sorry.
My birthday came first.
Yeah.
All right. And did you go for a BW debauchery trip on your birthday?
No, I spent the
So
day in
your
the
wish came true.
No. When we discussed this whole thing, I said that it couldn't happen until like next year anyway. And Steve was all on board. He said that if we got the money to be able to take this trip and we could get the bus, he was all in at the end. I've recently re-listened to the show, Richard, so
How much money have we raised so far?
0. But Steve, that's not the point. The point is, this is my wish. Let's not piss all over Chris's wish.
Richard asked me what I was doing on my birthday. I was spending my birthday in the hospital with my son who had a false diagnosis. So that's what I did all day.
So you didn't go on a VW trip?
No, malpractice, I think.
So your birthday wish came true. So now it's time for Chris's birthday wish.
That's right.
That's just stinking thinking.
And you get to drive the bus.
I mean,
It's
that is
perfectly fair. Your wish came true, and now it's Steve's turn.
Let's go and find somebody who's into speculative biology, and we'll talk to them too. Along with all the other places we have to go.
Better show than us talking about speculative biology.
That's right, because we suck.
Well, we did all right. I mean, we speculated.
We did speculate.
Yeah.
We definitely brought the energy to this episode.
That's right.
We brought energy.
Yeah,
well, I speculated
to
that
talk about it. Well, you were.
I brought an energy drink. I don't know if I brought any energy.
Steve was, his usual talented self, but me and you were excited to talk about it.
I love the friggin' subject.
I speculated well as you guys did.
He did speculate as well as we did.
I speculated that people were going to be human-robot hybrids. Richard speculated that ferrets were going to become giant and eat giant rabbits.
Yes.
And Chris just speculated in general. So we all speculated about biology.
Thanks for that touching recap, Steve.
Well, I thought maybe the viewers who came in late would want to know what we talked about.
Huh.
And on that bombshell.
You fucking just brought it all back around, Steve. I speculated on everything in general.
Well, monkeys in general.
Monkeys?
Oh, something like that.
Huh.
I've already forgotten.
You don't give a shit.
I do.
Do you?
I wouldn't be here if I didn't.
Do you really give a shit?
No.
I mean, come on.
I mean, this is
let's
thousands
be
of years in the future.
Let's be honest. Let's tear down the fucking fourth wall of this show. Do you really care, Steve?
Do I care about the show?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Like,
do I care about the subject sometimes? Not so much.
How much do you care about the show?
Well, I show up every week, don't I?
That is true. That is true.
Yes.
All right, let's extrapolate on this.
5 years I've showed up every time.
5 years. Well, not every time, Steve.
Well, almost every time, unless I had some sort of emergency situation like a baseball game.
You have missed some pretty important shows in the past.
But he has spearheaded the best episodes.
Yes. Elvis. Andy Kaufman.
No, let's stop fucking inflating his goddamn ego, Richard. It annoys me to a point I can't even fucking describe to you.
But it's true. The Elvis episode is my favorite episode.
It's your favorite episode.
And as the biggest fan, my opinion counts the most.
Yeah. Does
The
it?
Fasano episode, I didn't spearhead that though.
He missed the Russian Yeti episode, which is
important.
Which was one of our biggest episodes in the beginning. He totally missed it.
Yeah, I suck.
It's a good episode.
So it was just me and Matt. And not that Matt and I can't carry a fucking show. I'm just saying that Steve had a tendency to miss out on shows during a certain period of time. Not so much nowadays. Nowadays you're pretty spot on.
I have no life anymore.
You're Johnny on the fucking spot with this shit. Yeah, you don't have a life, but
no, I sit at home all day and do nothing.
It is what it is.
Back then, I actually did things.
You did?
Yeah.
For the show?
No, not for the show. Oh. Well, a little bit. I posted the link on my timeline a couple times.
Oh, wow. Don't hurt yourself, Steve.
I actually did some research in the beginning.
You got to do like some clicking and some typing. I don't want you to strain those delicate hands of yours.
Well,
Trying
I don't want
to
to get carpal tunnel by typing.
promote the show that you're on every week for almost 5 years now.
Just me being on the show is promotion.
Is it? Where?
Here's the talent.
Will you shut the fuck up?
Is it just me or is Chris breaking up?
Am I breaking up?
It's probably just me.
Is it just you? I think it's just you, Steve.
Yeah, I don't hear him breaking up.
I'm glad we could do a fucking audio test live on air for our listeners.
Hey, we're connecting with our fan base.
This audio test was brought to you by Steve's new shitty computer that just dropped him out of the fucking hangout.
Brilliant. Now it's just you and me.
Rest in peace, Art Bell.
Yeah.
Caller, you're on the air.
That was a tragedy.
The dude made late night talk radio for ages.
It was,
And he could keep people talking about shit forever.
Yeah.
What a genius. Just he'd sit back and let these motherfuckers go on and on and on. And just sit back and fucking rake it in. Let people on the fucking telephone. So you're a time traveler. He
was a don of paranormal talk radio and other talk radio. He definitely covered a lot of subjects, and he was very good. He was very talented. I could listen to him for hours.
Yeah, no, he found a niche that he was perfect for.
Yep.
He had the right attitude for it. He didn't judge anyone. He just let everybody talk. And he would just act like it was fascinating and just keep it going.
He could make you feel like you were the most important person in the world. And he was so good. And he had such a good voice as well.
He had a good radio voice.
He had like the full package of radio.
And like I said, he was perfect for a late night talk. He had that niche, and he wrapped it up, and people loved him. People followed him.
Yep.
Christ. He was doing at the end. Wasn't he just doing it on the internet?
Yeah, he's just doing podcasts.
Yeah. But he's oh God.
Hello.
So, are you back, Steve?
I might be. I don't know. My internet took a shit there for a second.
Yeah, it did take a shit. We were just saying rest in peace to Art Bell. I know you have a news story for it, but fuck it.
Oh, I have it right here. Art Bell, a radio host known for paranormal-themed nightly shows syndicated on hundreds of stations in the 90s, died in his home in southern Nevada. That's it.
The age of 72?
72.
Art Bell.
A lot of people are speculating. I'm not going to read the rest of the story, but a lot of people are speculating that he was murdered.
Caller, you're on the air.
Well, he was convinced that people were following him and things like that, and so a lot of people are taking that and extrapolating that because a sheriff is the one who made the announcement that he was murdered. But I'm going to guess the sheriff made the announcement because he was famous.
Conspiracies are abound. Let's just take it down the rabbit hole, Steve. Tell us more.
Well, there is no more. He's dead.
Was there a magic bullet?
I don't think so.
No. Did he decide to drive through downtown with the top down?
I'm not sure I get that pop culture reference that you just made.
Did he fall into the sea from his yacht after having a very loud argument with his spouse?
No, I get that one.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think that there's probably any foul play in his death. I think he was probably sick for some time, and just no facts were released about it. But they're not releasing any facts of what
And he
caused his
just
death.
passed away. Is that what you're saying?
I'm guessing, yeah.
Yeah, probably. I don't think we need to have a conspiracy theory about the death of Art Bell.
I think
we
though,
will anyway.
yes. I think though that if you listen to, he was really paranoid. I followed him on Facebook, and he was always paranoid. And I think that the subjects that he talked about got to him after time, and he started believing in those things, and it wasn't good for his well-being. Let's put it that way.
Steve, it's a false flag operation.
Yeah. Did you want me to read the rest of the news or no?
How do you feel, Steve? How do you feel
I
about
don't
the
care.
news?
I am totally 100% dedicated to this show and real news.
Real fake news.
Yes.
Okay.
From the Express. Flat Earth shock. A third of all millennials believe the Earth is flat. That's
Do they?
crazy. 1/3.
Seriously?
Full 1/3, yeah.
I told my
I'm surprised
son.
that's low.
I told my son that if he believed that the Earth was flat, I'd beat him.
Yeah. Anyway, it says that despite overwhelming evidence that the Earth is a spherical globe shape, including both pictorial and video evidence, a third of young people believe the Earth could be flat. A survey carried out by YouGov, which polled 8,215 U.S. adults, found that 84% believe the Earth is round. Yippee! But the figure falls to just 60% or 66% of 18 to 24-year-olds, the generation also who eats Tide Pods and snorts condoms.
Oh, please. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say that I'm pretty sure
the whole Tide Pod thing was a fucking goddamn picture thing. Nobody died from eating fucking Tide Pods. It's fucking stupid.
Even if they did, we all did stupid shit when we were kids.
Right, back when we were kids, we fucking huffed gas and fucking sprayed aerosol shit in our hair.
We did not snort condoms.
Right. Yeah.
That's just silly.
Maybe you didn't, Steve.
I did whippets. Oh my god!
You were one of the cool kids who did.
That's right.
I did a whippet once. Boy, that was pretty nice. I actually enjoyed it.
See, you had whippets.
I was in my late 20s by the time I tried it, but I still did it.
Who doesn't like a fucking whippet?
Anyway, 1/3 of all youth, 18 to 24, believe it. The Earth is not a globe. That's crazy.
That's awesome.
Worried. Oh, see, here this goes into our subject of the night. If you've got a nagging feeling that the emergence of autonomous weapons, biotech, all-knowing computers, untracked asteroids, and the breakdown of political norms is all a bit of a worry, congratulations. You're aware of some of the key risks facing us all. I can't read that word. But worrying might not be enough. Take action. We need to be able to quantify the risk if we want to avoid it, or at least management. Dr. Adrian Curry of Cambridge's Center for the Study of Existential Risk, is joining us. Why do you give me these kind of stories that are written in the third person, Richard? Do you do this on purpose?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he does.
Well, you said it annoyed you, so like that was pretty much a green light for me.
The story's about whether AI will take over people, but I'm not going to read it.
Wow, okay.
Because I don't like the way it's written.
Well, you know what the solution is, don't you?
Find my own news stories?
Find your own news stories.
I might just have to.
Don't rely on me and Chris to find them for you.
Chris didn't find me any news stories. This is all you.
I know. I'm pretty shit at finding news stories. I apologize.
No, you do fine. I just don't like third person ones.
Do I need to go back to getting the news?
No, I'll start getting.
Do I need to take it over?
No.
Do I not do enough for the show already?
Before Richard came, I did
no.
the news stories.
No, let's really analyze this. Do I not do enough for the show, Steve?
Come
on. You know, a man such as yourself who's done so much for this show, Please tell me how I can do more.
I said
for
I'd
this
get the news
show.
stories. Maybe Richard and I can split the duty.
I
I'll
wish you'd
reject the
split a
news stories.
fucking duty and fucking eat it.
That would just be gross.
That would be gross.
Because that's all you guys do is fucking eat shit. You're welcome.
Thanks.
I got to pre-read the stories if Richard sends them to me. That's all I know. Oh, I did the Art Bell one. And
Pre-read a motherfucker. I have been telling you for years to copy and paste the fucking news stories.
I don't need to copy and paste them. I got a new computer that's really nice and fast and can handle it all.
And dumped you out of the fucking show.
No, that was my internet took a shit.
Oh.
Well, I don't need to pre-read them. It takes 5 minutes.
Well, because I usually come in right as the show's starting and don't have time to pre-read.
I think
You had like an hour today.
I think
I did, but I was working.
Copy and paste them, then he can go over them, read them, maybe make some adjustments, make some notes.
There was a time that you wanted me to write my own.
Be a real newsman.
Remember that.
You should. You should be writing your own news stories.
Well, I add my own things into them, like the
your own commentary and bullshit. Yeah, I know. I know you do. But you could do more, Steve. You don't.
What would you do if I did?
I'd shit.
Shock would kill him.
Okay, let's try it next week. I'm going to do some. What's our subject for next week?
I don't know.
Oh, well, it doesn't help.
I'm going away next weekend.
We can do another subject. I'm really interested in the possibilities for deep space colonization.
Deep space colonization?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you got?
What have I got on that? Well, a lot of scientists are saying that it's our best hope for our survival as a species.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of projects dedicated to terraforming terrible environments to make them habitable for humans, like biodomes and stuff.
How far is deep space? I mean, like, would that be Mars?
At the moment, it's pretty much Saturn, isn't it? I mean, that's deep space to us. But I mean, like, advancing space travel to the point where we can travel to planets like Saturn and Neptune in like a day.
That's not going to happen until we turn over those kind of programs to the general public instead of the government. So,
what are you trying to
rely on NASA?
What are you trying to say, Steve? You saying NASA's fucking junk?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's too much red tape at this point for us to have real. I mean, now they're starting to do it.
Oh, right. Elon Musk is going to put us out there,
right? And then that's what
Iron Man.
Something
Will
like
you
that.
just fucking marry Elon Musk already?
Fucking
just
right.
have the ceremony and be like, "Here's me, Mr. and Mrs. Musk."
Fucking get right down and fucking pop his hog in my mouth.
Yeah.
Fucking sure.
You might as well.
Might as well.
No, it's going to take some. Oh,
he's fucking Iron Man, Richard. He's going to take us to the stars.
Iron Man.
He's taking us to the stars. The day that he comes out in his Iron Man suit, I expect you to fucking fly over here and give me a fucking apology.
I will. I will give you a handwritten apology in my own blood, delivered directly to your doorstep.
And that includes any type of suit that might encase him.
It doesn't
have to look. No, it doesn't have to look exactly like Iron Man.
No, it doesn't. I'll settle for War Machine prototype suit, but it has to be along those lines. Because he could come out in a suit of armor now, and you'd win. So.
Well, no, I wouldn't. I'm not saying like he can come out in like a knight's suit of armor. That doesn't work.
What if he just wears an Iron Man T-shirt? Would that be okay?
No.
We might have to take that one to the judges, Steve. I see your point. Okay.
Just saying.
It might work, Steve. We'll talk to some people in the legal department.
Okay. I'm surprised that we haven't had to talk to the people in the legal department.
Our legal department is actually much better than the legal department that is working for Claudia Ackley.
Ooh.
Oh,
Ooh.
that was low.
That
Wow.
was.
We like Claudia. Come on.
I never said I didn't like Claudia. I just said our legal department is bigger.
Well, Claudia has a very well-respected Texas attorney.
Yeah?
He might be an ambulance chaser, but he does his job well.
Great, Steve.
I don't think any self-respecting ambulance chaser would take on a case to sue the government about Bigfoot.
Why wouldn't you if you get paid either way? Filing fees and stuff aren't included in that 1/3 of whatever they get.
They're more after the big payout, though, aren't they? I mean,
Well, they're after getting their name in the news.
I suppose you could go with that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that this
I'm
attorney
the
is doing
attorney
that.
that went after Bigfoot.
Yeah, exactly. I gotta be
What do
honest.
they say? No bad publicity is still publicity. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Okay, so you Google lawyer after being arrested. Do you get the criminal defense lawyer who's won a bunch of cases, or the guy who's suing California to prove Bigfoot exists?
What if he wins? You'd want the Bigfoot guy.
Yeah, all right, fair play. He's not going to win, though.
But what if he does?
Yeah, he's not.
What if? This is speculative law school, Richard.
Okay, well, if he does win, then yes, that will make him very famous. And I'm not sure I'll want to live anymore.
This is speculative Law and Order. Dung dung.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Your Honor, he may have murdered him. Yeah, okay. Fair point.
Well, Your Honor, this is the video evidence. But it's shaky and blurry.
It might be Bigfoot.
Close enough.
No, he won't win. The legal system can't work like that.
Why not?
I have to have some faith left in the system.
Wait a second. You've been through the system, Richard.
All we need
Do you
is
have any
those-
faith in it?
All we need is those two sounds. Dung dung.
I've not been through the system, so I still have faith. Maybe someday I'll lose faith as well, but
Yeah, but I've got that last little bit of faith in the system that, maybe it still knows what it's doing.
maybe.
Maybe. And, I'll break. I will be broke.
So you
You've been
don't want to
broken.
live in a world where the state of California says that Bigfoot is real.
Not based on Claudia Ackley's video evidence, no.
Well, she has other evidence, allegedly. Maybe it's better. You haven't seen it all.
And what about Zorth and Xenu? I mean, those guys are cool.
Yeah.
Oy.
Come on, Richard.
I think you should just delve into the realm of speculative Bigfooting, Richard.
I think we should, Richard. You and I should just do a fucking big handful of mushrooms and go to Soha.
Soha doesn't exist anymore. I don't think.
Oh, where the fuck are we going then? Where
Well,
is?
you got to go to Johnson's house now,
Oh, we'll pay $100
That's where we
each. We'll go sleep in our cot.
outside.
Yeah.
Well, according to Gordon, I'm just going to go to a woods with an open heart. And
You
all
know, you know what? And I know you get like fucking, your schizophrenia and all that shit, but I think we should do some DMT. I think we should go to Full Monty.
You.
Like, I think it might help you.
No, it won't.
Listen, if you murder somebody while we're there, you can always say it was the drugs.
And
Yeah.
then you can find out exactly how much faith you still have in the system.
Yeah, no.
Or
No.
in me as your friend as I run away and say I don't know him.
Who? Richard who?
It was totally him. I saw the whole thing.
He's completely guilty.
It was
I'll
all
swear
him.
to it now.
I'll swear to it in court. Give me the Bible.
Fucking right. I think we should do it. I think
This
we
show
should
has
go.
devolved.
When is that happening? Did we miss it?
When is what happening?
The whole $100 fucking come sleep at my house thing.
It's any night.
You can go today if you want.
Yeah.
Well, you
just
gotta
charge-
You
Just
just
charge
Be accepted by Zorth and
oh,
Xena.
you just go. It's like fucking Airbnb.
Yeah, pretty much.
You just call up Johnson and you're like, hey, I'd like to reserve a spot in your backyard.
It's like Airbnb if you charge triple rates.
Do I get to sleep next to Zorth?
Only if Zorth likes you.
Oh,
If you have an open heart and an open mind, you should be all right.
Yeah,
Is
for
it-
like $100, you could get a seedy motel room and a hooker. So,
but is it okay if I play Zork while I'm sleeping next to Zorth? That's the question that I have.
Try it.
Yeah,
I don't
break
know.
down the fourth wall. Check it out.
I don't know. I think we should go though. $100, we get to fucking hang out with tree Bigfoot people and a crazy
What?
scientist or
We'll add that into the
psychologist.
trip. We'll add that into the VW trip of debauchery.
That should happen. I don't think Richard can come though.
Well,
I don't think so.
Someone's going to drive the bus while you two are getting all high and shit.
I'm
We'll
not
see.
getting high.
See, Steve isn't
That
going to be
wasn't
part of that. Steve has to be separate from that. I have to figure out how to quarantine him from
Yeah, we both know it
said
won't be
activities.
4 hours until you figure out how to spike him.
No, see, I'm not like that. I would never slip anyone anything. That's not my style.
No Mickey's being slipped.
Yeah, no Mickey's being slipped over here because it's just not cool.
Prefer to stay out of jail.
Well, no, it's just not a cool thing to do
Yeah. Well,
to anybody. You should never give anybody anything without their prior knowledge.
so I'm safe then. I still don't feel safe. I still don't feel like that.
I've said from the beginning, all you should be doing is driving the bus. That's it. And dealing with me. Well, you wouldn't even really have to deal with me. You're just going to have to deal with a different version of me.
Huh.
But I don't think it'd be anything that you can't handle. I think for the most part, you fucking giggle your ass off at me.
Yeah.
But that's about it. I think you'd be amused by the antics,
Okay.
personally. But that's my wish, Steve. I'd love for it to happen. We could go to Johnson's place, sleep in a cot. You know, be a good time.
So we're adding destinations to the list quite
All the time.
frequently now.
It's going to wind up being a year trip, Steve. You're going to have to tell your wife, listen, I'm going to be gone. You're going to have to hold down the fort. Something that Chris and I have to do.
I'm not sure that she'll go for that.
Steve, something that has to be done. Someday you'll understand.
I
We're on
don't
a
understand.
mission from God. I'm taking it that deep. I'm pulling that ace out from up my sleeve, Steve.
Okay. Well,
You can't say no.
I'm not sure I want to
You owe
say
it to
yes.
you owe it to our like 4 fans.
Those guys are the best.
Yeah. How could you
Okay.
not do it for them?
I
For
don't
those
have to.
people who live and die by this show, Steve.
I'll tell you what. I will help out our fans any way possible, except being debauched.
I didn't say you had to be debauched.
But just being in the presence of debauchery makes you part of it.
Does it?
Yes.
You own a fucking a video that you're not even supposed to have, Steve. And you want to talk to me about being near debauchery?
It's actually in my. In fact, I got it in my hand.
in my
right now.
drawer right
It's
now.
here.
I'm holding it up to the light and looking at the frames.
I actually found
I'm
somebody.
committing a crime right now.
I found
Alive.
somebody who may want to take that off my hands. So it might be
Don't even talk to me, son. You and your I can't be near debauchery bullshit. Dear
certain
Christ.
types of debauchery, if they're historic.
Oh. Well, this will be
Probably.
historic.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it will be.
We'll stop at Mount Rushmore. How's that?
Chris and Steve do
Right.
America.
There you go.
I mean, I'd be up for a short.
It writes itself, Steve. Come on.
We could start it off with a really patriotic, like intro, with like flags and eagles.
Patriotic? You mean patriotic?
I mean patriotic, you nonce. Anyway,
God.
They speak backwards over there, Chris.
if we invented the bloody language, a pair of creeps.
You want me to get into this again?
He referred to a woman's pussy as lady bits earlier. I don't know how to talk to this man. I don't understand him.
That is just that is not fair because that was not on air. So
I made it on air.
oh, okay.
It's completely fair. Anything you say can be used against you on this show.
You also fucking coochie coo with a fucking ferret.
Yeah, she is adorbs though.
Well,
And you say words like adorbs.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
It's okay if you're 12.
Well, Steve's getting a bit uppity.
I'm just saying.
so gentlemen, before we end this debacle of a show, what are we doing the show on next week? And then, mind you, I will be coming back from a long trip, so I may have trip nonsense.
Stories to tell.
There may be trip nonsense. You never know.
And maybe trip nonsense.
Maybe you'll see a UFO on your way home.
I could see a UFO. Maybe I will be like fucking was it Betty and Barney Hill? I'll be like Barney Hill.
All right.
I'll have a UFO experience whilst driving back to New England.
It could happen.
So what should we plan on doing the show on? Silence.
Have we done
Fucking utter silence.
Yeah.
I want to do a reincarnation show. Doesn't have to be
Reincarnation
next
is
week.
good.
Reincarnation. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
All right. And deep space travel.
Yeah.
That's what you guys are laying on the table.
Yeah.
Mine's
How do
a
we
little more 40.
reconcile those two?
Okay, so I'm going to postulate. This is my speculative show topic. Nostradamus.
How about reincarnation in
I
deep
think
space?
that we're going to wind up talking about my trip nonsense because neither one of you are going to prepare for either one of those fucking topics.
I prepared for speculative biology, so you can just
I already prepared for
shove that
reincarnation.
little nugget up your ass.
I watched a show, an X-Files show the other night where it was reincarnation. So
Oh, God. Chris has won the bet with Steve, and he doesn't even have to do anything.
there's a bet.
Ta-da! This has been the Fortean Slip, episode 21.
Wait.
Flightless bats and predator rats. Oh my, Steve, shut the fuck up.
I'm just trying
If
to
you
figure out
like
what
this
this bet
shit,
was.
hit the little thumbs up button. If you don't, hit the little
It
thumbs
didn't mention
down
eBay
button.
at all.
Leave a comment, subscribe, check out Bigfootin' with Keith and Colin on Facebook. Check out Matt Knapp at youtube.com/bigfootcrossroads. Check out Steve is a dickhead at steveisaddickhead.com.
I'm gonna have to see if that's available.
It probably is. Check out Parabreakdown at youtube.com/Parabreakdown. And as always, check out our good friend Fred Dunn at dredfunn.com and youtube.com/Dred We will be back next Sunday. I'm not sure on the time. I don't know when I'll be getting back home, but we will keep you informed to some degree. Maybe. See ya!